Alrighty, more upgrades. So, we got some big old honking tires, 35 inch by 12 and a half. They're rather large. And the tie rod is rather not large. So, what we're going to do is upgrade this tie rod to something a little beefy. I was looking at lots of steering upgrade options, and I like the Y-Link. I personally don't enjoy the concept of a T, an inverted T setup, just because of the bump steer issues when the ball joint starts rolling and causing, I guess, bump steer. But I didn't really find any Y setups that I was impressed with. So the drag link usually never fails. The only thing that sucks about it is that if that tie rod end fails, you got to replace the whole drag link. And I was looking for a Y setup that had replaceable ends on each side, and I just didn't really find anything. So, the only real issue that most people have problems with is the tie rod. It's so weak and flexible that even just driving down terrain, the tires will put so much leverage on it that it'll start to flex around. It's not very heavy duty, and it's not very hard to bend. And if that were to bend or snap in a worst case scenario, you're not getting home. Not without some serious jerry-rigging going on. So, we're going to upgrade that to some heavy dookie. This right here is the Rough Country heavy duty tie rod. I think it's 1¼ inch outer diameter. And this thing weighs a little over 9 pounds. Oh my god. It is heavy fucking duty. It's retarded. Like, the second I picked it up, I was like, holy shit, that's gonna be on my steering? That motherfucker's never gonna fail. So, hopefully it's the same length. But, holy shit. That's a big fucking difference. Ooh! And it's heavy. So, hopefully these are the same length. There's 2 different tie rods. The older ones, the 87 to 90, is the same thread and everything. It's just shorter. And on the older ones, or the newer ones, I'm sorry, 91 and current, their rods, threaded rod ends are a little longer, so their tie rods are shorter, I think. So hopefully it fits on there. If not, the newer ones basically have the same exact taper and everything. They're just longer, so. Alright, in order to take this thing off, you got 2 of these little adjusting things. They're either 13mm or 1/2 inch. I've been using 1/2 inch and they've been doing fine, but loosen these up and then start twisting your tie rod with a pipe wrench. It might be a bitch to get free. One more thing I forgot to mention, you're going to want to measure the length of the tie rod before you take it off. So you're going to measure from the center to the center of the tie rod ends. And just see what length you come up with. And that way when you put your new one in, you can get it pretty close. You'll probably still have to do an alignment, but at least that'll get you, on the road. I think the left side is the correct thread. But when I break it free, you just put your pipe wrench on there, big foot, and since I got a bumper, I can hold on to it here, and just put your weight down and turn it. You should have heard that thing cracking the first time, but holy shit. And it might be hard to turn the entire time, but this one's actually moving now, so that's cool. Yeah. It might be a good idea to have the steering wheel unlocked, I don't know. Now we can use a smaller one, just to turn it easier. Might even be able to turn it by hand, but just keep cranking until she comes off. Okay, so as you can see, the Rough Country tie rod is slightly shorter for some reason. I don't know why they would decide to do that, but it's a good inch shorter. That's a good 2 inches shorter. So, hopefully with the longer tie rods, that would be fine. But we should still have plenty of thread engagement. So, now you put it back on. Now, you can take one of the tie rod ends off to make this easier if you wanted, but I'm just going to thread it onto one, a turn or two, and then try and thread it on the other and just keep going from there. Okay, Before you put the tie rod on, I recommend two things. First, put the nut on. You have one regular thread and one reverse thread, so, you know, they're only going to go in one way. In the instructions, they tell you you're going to get a gold one and a black one. Mine are both silver. One was slightly smaller and had dents in it. The bigger one is the regular thread, and the smaller one with these little dash thingies in them is the left-hand thread. Second off, put some anti-seize on there. That way you can get this thing to loosen up later on in life. That'll just help in the long run. And thirdly, obviously, this tie rod has a regular thread and a reverse thread. So it's only going to go in one way. So if you notice it's not threading, try flipping it around. Maybe then it'll thread. So in order to line this up the lazy way and not take off one of these tie rod ends, jack one of the tires up just enough so you can turn it easy. And then sit over here with your other hand and try and get the tie rod to line up and start threading it. So we'll see how that goes. Here it is, finally installed. So those 2 inches do make kind of a difference, because that means you're basically splitting an inch on each side. I don't know if I'm too happy with that thread engagement, because the threads probably start somewhere around there. It's not a whole lot longer than that, so I don't know why they did that, but that kind of really sucks. If you look on over here, it's kind of the same deal. So I don't know. I'm a little bothered by that, but I lined up the tape measure marks, and they're about the same. And then I took the tape measure and measured the back of the tires, the front of the tires, and we're at about a 1/4 inch of toe in. So now you tighten down the lock nuts and call it a day. About an hour job, not too bad. I like the thickness, I like the coating, I don't like the length. I wish they would have gave a stock length or something. There's got to be a reason. Alright, once you tighten down both the jam nuts, and if you change your toe setting at all, make sure your steering wheel's centered. Might help to drive it down the road first and see what you need to do. You're done. So there you go. We got some beef now. I'm a little worried about the thread engagement though, because breaking a tie rod end is about the same amount of bad that a bent tie rod would cause, so I don't know. You lose a couple stars on that, but whatever. Better than this hunk of junk, I hope. There you have it. Rough country.